Did you experience fear?
That's why you need to control, because it's fear. This is in anything. Uh, Stepping into the unknown. You like things to be a certain way. You don't want things to be unpredictable. And whenever somebody or something makes you feel a certain, gives you a certain type of anxiety, you
Okay.
wish to get a grasp on this type of reality. I think this is probably something that everybody can relate to, where you're in an environment
Yeah.
and it begins to become hostile for you. And you think it's the environment. You think that it's the people there. You think that it's the culture there. Um, in a way, maybe, yes, that's a system, but you're choosing to enter into that system. And so you're bringing your unfulfilled desires into a system that is not going to fulfill your desire. And so, of course, the manifestation of that is going to be a hostility. And so, even if you switch to a different environment in a similar way that's not fulfilling for you, nothing is going to change. It might feel fresh in the beginning. What's more powerful than knowing that all the things that have happened to you is because of you?
Not many people are willing to admit that.
Of course, because then you look at,
Because people prefer to blame things and other people and situations and whatnot and anything but themselves. Because, admitting that you are the reason why something didn't go the way you wanted takes a lot of courage, to look in the mirror, really.
Yes, and there's a big moment of reflection, and you have to let that settle. It does feel like an atom bomb explodes within yourself.
But it's also empowering, because
course.
once you accept it, you actually free yourself from anything else, and you can use that to your full advantage.
Something was not given to you, and you can call that a certain type of trauma. Something was given to you, and you can call that a certain type of, it's because of this that therefore you were able to get what you got. And so you're relinquishing all of the true power that you have as being the one that creates everything.
Absolutely.
Everything stems from you. Everything comes from you.
Mm-hmm.
That's where you need to start, believing in yourself. God is not on the outside. There's nothing that you need to build on the outside. It comes from within. The fact is that your consciousness, God is accessed. He lives within your imagination. That's where it all is. So you have to connect with yourself. You're the garment in which you can allow for God to enter into and create a conditioned state. Go back into that. And you can become the unconditioned consciousness. And you become one with God. Everybody just needs to find how they want to feel. And then they can, using their imagination, envision what life is like in that state. And then they can rearrange their lives by their beliefs, by changing their conceptions of themselves, by expanding and breaking down through limitations. I'm not just this. I am this, but I can be something else. And I can be something else. And by that I mean a state of being, not a thing. Hey everyone, welcome back. Thank you for tuning in. Alex and Sylvia. In our last episode, we presented the blueprints, or a process by which to shift your perspective of the way that you look at the world and the way that you think of yourself. And that process produces a more ethical and heart-centered experience for you. And so naturally, where to begin? So today we're going to show you just that.
Alex, so let's talk about your journey. For those who don't know you, you're in your mid-30s, you're a father of two, happily married to me.
True.
You left a solid career in the hospitality industry.
True.
You went through a fundamental transformation. I'm the witness of that. Can you share why?
I was beginning to feel pushback from my experience, from the environment, almost as if there was a disconnect between the way that I wished to live and the way that I was living. But where to start? Where to begin? You wake up in the morning and you wake up with a start, and you're already thinking about all of the things that you have to do. Let's say you work at your job. And then the day begins to just fly by. And if you don't have any time to sit back and reflect upon your experience, a lot of time passes by, and this begins to build up, and it begins to build up if you're not doing the things that you feel in your soul that you wish to be doing. And it's always something creative. It's something, it's an experience that you wish to feel on the outside, right? The mirror, the reflection that you're seeing in the world is not giving you that which is fulfilling you. So where is the disconnect? What is going wrong?
Mm-hmm.
And so I began to feel these pushes from everything. There was just added pressure here. There began to be strain. My relationship with my environment, my relationship with people began to be strained. It began to
Friction.
there was definitely friction. And
that led you to confusion.
yeah, and then where do you begin? Where do you start?
I remember very vividly every night you would come home and you'd be very pensive, introspective, trying to assimilate what happened during your day
Mm-hmm.
before you even told me about your day at night, at evening. And so we would speak about it. We would clear things, clear the air in a way. I would help you, find yourself again,
Yes.
charge your battery,
Yes.
and then you would be off to work the next day in great shape, per usual. And then the same thing will happen at night when you come back. You would come back home like this, like a different person. I hated that. And it just kept happening day in, day out, day in, day out, day in, day out.
And that was one of the things that was a clue for me,
Mm-hmm.
right? If the environment, the coming home, if this environment, if being with you, if being with the kids, if being with family, if being able to shift away from the things that feel toxic for you, if that's making you feel good and that's what's rejuvenating you, then obviously you kind of have an idea of where you need to go. And then I began to give myself time to think, time to meditate, time to return to writing and to journaling the things that I love to do, about expressing myself in a particular way. And this is how you're tapping in with your soul, with your essence, with what you want, because there's no body that can tell you how you should be living. There's no system for that. Everybody is so individual. And the only way that now I've come to understand it is that you have to connect with yourself. You have to start with yourself. And then you'll kind of know where you need to go if you hear yourself.
Okay. But in order to be able to do that, you have to make time. Otherwise, it's just one thing after the other, one thing after the other. In your case, you're a father, so you would have gone to work, come back home, play with the kids, help put them to bed, and then...
If there's enough energy for that. Sometimes, I started my day so early, and sometimes so much is going on throughout the day that when you have that feeling in the middle of the day that I cannot wait to get home because there's so many amazing things I wish to do there, that's a clue in and of itself. If in the present moment you're doing something and you're lending your attention to something and it's not fulfilling you, and you're already thinking of, you're looking forward to the thing that truly is fulfilling you, that's a clue right there. But the point is that it doesn't matter when I have that urge where I cannot wait to come home to do X, Y, and Z, or to spend time with X, Y, and Z.
That was a clue for you.
But there's no energy, because that impulse comes a little bit in the afternoon.
Yeah.
And by the end of the day, by the time you finish the rest of the day,
Yeah.
by the time you get home, by the time that adrenaline dump comes, there's no energy for any of these
No,
things.
yeah.
And then you crash.
So your favorite people, they don't even get the best of you. It's
Yeah.
just the leftovers.
Of course. Of course. Unless you find a way to keep yourself going. But the truth is that there's not enough coffee, there's not enough of anything in order to be able to do it when you're running on empty. You're running on empty. And what's interesting is that all the people that I spoke to you were one of them, but all of the people that are doing the things that truly fulfill them, they don't get tired like this. They don't get exhausted by the process, because what they're doing is so fulfilling, it doesn't feel like work.
Because they're currently constantly in the flow.
They're filling their cup as they go. It's never
They're
empty.
happy with what they do. They
Yeah.
love their job. Okay, but that's one out of how many? That's certainly not everybody.
But the common thing with all of these people is that is true. So if you find that 1 in 100, however many you group them up in, that common denominator is that they are fulfilled by what they do.
Okay.
How they spend their time, where they place their attention.
So we decided, I remember, we decided you needed to change.
Yeah.
And I remember you saying that, so what is the alternative? To find another place.
Yes.
But finding another place, same position, just a different company, doesn't change much.
I think this is probably something that everybody can relate to, where you're in an environment,
Yeah.
and it begins to become hostile for you. And you think it's the environment. You think that it's the people there. You think that it's the culture there. In a way, maybe, yes, that's a system, but you're choosing to enter into that system. And so you're bringing your unfulfilled desires into a system that is not going to fulfill your desire. And so, of course, the manifestation of that is going to be a hostility. And so even if you switch to a different environment in a similar way that's not fulfilling for you, nothing is going to change. It might feel fresh in the beginning for all the people that ever, they're like, I've had it enough in this place.
I remember you started working in that industry because you love working with people.
I honestly think that if you're doing something that's not truly fulfilling for you, then you begin to see the world in a different way. You begin to see people in a different way.
Yeah.
I actually don't like looking at people in terms of clients or in terms of customers or in terms of even this employee dynamic.
Yeah.
I like collaboration.
Yeah, you see people. It's
and
people.
I love seeing souls. I love seeing human, not what they can do for me, but just them as a person. Not what they're bringing with the money, but or their value in terms of what they're bringing to my business, but what is the experience that you're sharing together? And I always liked to have a genuine, authentic connection with people. And so that's for me. For somebody else, it may be something different. And so you're looking for, how can you have this connection with people? How can you, there are different ways in which you can lend your attention to certain careers and jobs and how you spend your time. You just have to find the right fit. What is that?
So you realize that changing the place would not solve your problem.
Yes.
Then what?
I realized it was about going back into the shell and looking within, because you're not going to find it without. Once you realize the fact that it has nothing to do with with the outside world, you cannot manipulate the outside world. That's not how it works. The outside world is going to show up for you the way that you see it, the type of meaning that you provide for it. And the same thing with the people. If you think of somebody in a particular way, they're going to show up to you in a particular way. You and I know that.
Yeah.
You have to change that from within. Change starts from within. This isn't just an old saying. This is real. You have to start from within. And so you go back in and you figure out, okay, so how do you want to live? Envision your best day. What is the perfect day from the moment that you wake up? Does it feel rushed? Do you have time to yourself? And how does the day flow out? Myself included, and probably so many other people, certainly all the people that you and I have spoken to who experience this type of thing, they don't even plan out what the ideal state is, because they plan it out from the outside. I want to have X amount of dollars. I want to have this type of house and this type of car and this type of husband and this type of wife. And I want to do this with my kids and I want to give them this type of thing. But you're not actually thinking about how that makes you feel.
Okay.
Once you begin thinking about how you want your life to make you feel, the hows are less relevant.
That's true.
The amount of money that you have it becomes less relevant. The type of house that you have, the way that somebody looks on the outside, especially when you're picking a partner, all of these things that you've added on, that it has certain qualifications that need to be there in terms of anything. Those aren't real. You've convinced yourself that you need these things, and now you begin chasing the means instead of living from the end. And you can start living like that from the moment that you wake up.
For those who don't know you, you like structure, you like rhythm.
Control.
Control.
I love control. I love control.
It's your biggest lesson to learn in life.
That for sure is my biggest lesson
Was
to
it,
learn in life.
Did you experience fear?
That's why you need to control, because it's fear. This is in anything. Stepping into the unknown. You like things to be a certain way. You don't want things to be unpredictable. And whenever somebody or something makes you feel gives you a certain type of anxiety, you wish to get a grasp on this type of reality. This is why, certain people are, you get embarrassed by somebody. That's not really what it is. The person is just doing what they're doing. The fact that you feel embarrassed is because they're pushing a button that is uncomfortable for you.
How did you overcome your fear? You're leaving your solid job. You don't know what you're going to do. You have the kids, you have the bills. How did you overcome the fear? The fear of the unknown. The fear, how did you find the courage to believe and trust that everything will work out, because there is no other chance?
I didn't know initially where the help and the support would come from, but you trust that it will come.
Okay.
Everybody's in a different environment. Everybody's in a different state. Everybody's making a different type of choice when you move from one relationship to another relationship, from one job to another job, from one way of living to another way of living. You have no idea when somebody picks up and moves from one country to another country,
exactly,
what is going to happen when you get there. Who's going to help you when you get there? So what? You go back to school, you switch jobs, you don't speak the language, you don't know what's going to happen, you don't know the environment, you don't know the neighborhood you're going to move into, but you seek something else.
Yeah.
There's a desire that is unfulfilled, but you know where you want to end up, and so you have to trust the process.
Yes, that's exactly what I was going to say, is that when you stop and look at your results, let's call it point A,
Yeah.
and if you establish that there is an unfulfilled desire that you want to fulfill,
Yes.
that will be, and the fulfillment of that will be your point B, then That's all that matters, because the how is not your business. It's
Yes.
because you know that the universe, God, the divine conspires in your favor.
Yes.
That's the part I think that most people like skip almost. They don't even for a second entertain that's the case. You know what I mean?
They want to control the how.
people yes,
Yes.
people want to control the how. They want to make sure that there's going to be a successful ending, and they believe that by controlling the how, the ending will be successful. You know.
That doesn't work, because in the process of trying to control the how, you're admitting that you already lack the thing that you wish in the first place. And so you're trying to make something happen which you've admitted to yourself you currently don't have. And so this is not how it works. You believe what you are.
Exactly.
You express what you are.
What are the most important things you learned through your experience? If you can share a few.
All the answers you seek are within. There's no looking at the world and saying that this is the person that's responsible for this and this.
You don't blame.
You can, but it's not going to serve you.
It doesn't help.
It's not going to help you. So it can be the initial expression where you look, wow, look what this person has done to me, or look what this environment has done to me, or look at anything, something that you've been given the same way, right? Something was not given to you, and you can call that a certain type of trauma. Something was given to you, and you can call that a certain type of, it's because of this that therefore you were able to get what you got. And so you're relinquishing all of the true power that you have as being the one that creates everything.
Absolutely.
Everything stems from you. Everything comes from you.
Mm-hmm.
That's where you need to start, believing in yourself.
Yeah.
Believe in yourself first. You have to put all of the other things that you've been worshiping, the external expressions that you see, and all of a sudden you want this and you want that, and now you begin chasing that. And you're like, okay, now that I see what I want, because you're a slave to your senses.
Mm-hmm.
And now you're chasing the thing that you saw with your senses, and you're trying to plot out the way that you're going to get there. That's totally not the way that you achieve any of your dreams or desires. All of that starts from within. You figure out what it is, how it is that you want to feel, not what it is that you want to have. It's not about having.
You're 6 months in since the beginning of this journey. How would you compare your life today to the previous life you used to have? When you did have the 9 to 5 and you worked for somebody else, not for yourself. How would you what changed?
Now everything I see is beautiful. Everything I do is beautiful.
So your whole perspective,
everything.
you just see things from a different level.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, because you are in essence in a different state of being.
If everything comes from me, then that changes the way that everything appears.
Absolutely. If the whole world is listening right now, what message would you share with them?
You really have to figure out how you want to live. For me, it's the essence of our relationship was spending time together and creating together. So how could this not be a massive part of my life? Why would I go off and do something that takes so much from my day, which doesn't allow me to do the thing that I love most? One of the core things of what, brought us together. And then you add on the kids, you add on family, you add on my own creative pursuits. I found what I want, how I want to feel. Everybody just needs to find how they want to feel, and then they can, using their imagination, envision what life is like in that state, and then they can rearrange their lives by their beliefs, by changing their conceptions of themselves, by expanding and breaking down through limitations. I'm not just this. I am this, but I can be something else. And I can be something else. And by that I mean a state of being, not a thing. You know, not just father, husband, this type of worker, but a soul.
More than just a soul. We're all gods.
God.
Yeah.
That creative power that brought us all here is the same creative power that we all have to shape our reality.
What was that analogy that you have with the gold? The metaphor?
That the conditioned state is not the essence. The conditioned state is just the combination of the conceptions.
And the metaphor with gold?
Well,
Quote it?
well, you can shape gold into many different things, but you shouldn't forget that once that
Final shape.
final shape has been made, you can still melt that down and it's still gold. And all the things that have taken up all these forms, the form is not
Final.
it.
Yeah.
You're only seeing that as the expression
Of your current.
of an idea, of a belief. Somebody wants to make something with gold. They want to make a ring. That's an idea that they have, and they shape it, and it becomes that. So that is the same for your life. It's the same for everything. The beliefs eventually become convictions, and they express themselves, and they condition themselves into a form. And when you observe that form in your environment, in your life, or in anything that you see, don't forget,
So
that's just the form.
exactly.
That's not the essence. The essence is your ability to make a form, to assume a form.
Just like a god. Allow me to quote something, and I would love to hear your thoughts on that. Thou shalt have no other god beside me.
Oh, yes.
As long as man entertains a belief in a power apart from himself, so long will he rob himself of the being that he is.
When you look at the essence of morality, at least for us in the West, right? These statements, these commandments, the first and the second in this particular case, I think it was the second. I think that everyone should look at that personally for themselves. You know, this is God telling you exactly how you need to live, not how you need to structure society, but how you need to approach your own life. The fact that thou shalt have no other God beside me is reminding you that it's you who should be placed at the very top. You have to believe in yourself. If you don't believe in yourself and you believe in anything else, if there's anything else that you turn into a God outside of yourself, then you begin worshiping the expressions. And you're no longer worshiping that which expresses. You're going to be searching for all of the answers on the outside. You're going to say that it's because of this on the outside that has caused me
Right.
to be where I am. You blame, you judge, you sit in all of the things that have affected you.
Yeah.
Instead of creating your own reality by first believing in yourself.
So in an essence, if you were to value, say, your own career or money more than you value yourself, ultimately this will take control over you, and
Yes.
it will be at the expense of your, could be values, could be, your values. Isn't that interesting?
What's more powerful than knowing that all the things that have happened to you is because of you?
Not many people are willing to admit that.
Of course, because then you look at,
Because people prefer to blame things and other people and situations and whatnot, and anything but themselves. Because admitting that you are the reason why something didn't go the way you wanted takes a lot of courage, takes a to look in the mirror, really.
Yes, and there's a big moment of reflection, and you have to let that settle. It does feel like an atom bomb explodes within
But
yourself.
it's also empowering
Of
because once
course,
you accept it, you actually free yourself from anything else, and you can use that to your full advantage.
in that moment, you can take control. In that moment, you can take control.
Full control.
Full control.
Back in your hands.
Back in your hands, and now the power is now within you, and so you can now create the way that you wish to live. It's not about changing anyone else. You cannot change anyone else.
Yeah. No, you only have control over yourself.
Well, this is why, for me, the biggest thing was control. I always tried to control the environment. I always was doing it the wrong way. I was doing it from the outside. I thought that if I can, this should be this way and this should be that way. Who says what should or should not be for another person?
I mean, you did have good intentions.
Of course.
I was a witness,
Yes.
but isn't it? It's just so much easier when you don't control, because then you allow yourself to be in the flow, and when you're in the flow, you're in the flow. It's magnificent.
If you just focus on yourself, on how you can be the best version of yourself, on how you can be true and authentic with yourself, and not worry about how you can change other people, and how you can change this on the outside and that on the outside, so that it can be the perfect state which you have envisioned.
Yeah.
Based on what you've seen, I think you'll be much better off, and it will show up for you in a very beautiful and unexpected way. Not the way that right? Because you just want to feel a certain way. It's not about having things. It's about feeling a certain way. And so as long as you understand what that feeling is, how you wish to feel, the way in which that's going to manifest for you on the outside is the part that you cannot control.
So many people think that just once they have this or become that, they will be happy. It's the constant chase of something that they want for themselves. But it always starts with the I need this, I want that, and then I'm going to be happy. How does one overcome that? How does one understand that it's not the I and what I have, but it is how I feel and what kind of feeling I need to be happy. So you shift from the ego version of yourself, in an essence, to listening to your soul, listening to your inner voice, right? That your inner voice is not your ego. How can you shift from that?
I mean, everybody knows that it doesn't last. Everybody just needs to look at themselves.
Do they know that?
I mean, you feel it.
It is short doses of dopamine for sure, and then you go to the next thing, and then you go to the next thing. But do you ever catch yourself, and do you ever realize that it's just you're trying to fill a void because you're avoiding to look within, and therefore you're compensating by reaching without? You know what I mean?
Yes.
So how does one make that transition?
You have to make time for yourself. If you're constantly chasing things, if you're constantly allowing for these dopamine hits from the...
Anything.
By the way, and this is all the other things, right? You go to work, you come home, and then you have all the obligations, right? Things need to be cleaned. And then you have all your other things that you like to do. You like to watch certain things. You also want to read some certain things. You do the swiping. Maybe you go out, right? There's a bunch of things that you also wish to do. But there's one main thing that if you don't do, you're never going to be fulfilled, which is have time for yourself, to hear yourself, to block all these things out. The next thing I'm going to watch, or the next place I'm going to go, or the work that I'm doing, block all those out for a second. Meditate and hear your own thoughts, and use your own imagination to see where it is that you want to go and what you want to feel. It has to come from within. Otherwise, like you said, it's never going to be fulfilling. And it's not like we're talking about something that everybody doesn't experience. Everybody experiences this all the time. Every time you chase a thing, you get the thing, it's not enough. You want the next thing. And then you want the next thing because you're chasing a particular feeling. This applies to everything. And then it's never enough because it's not coming from within. You think it's the thing that's going to produce the feeling.
But it's never the thing.
It's never the thing. You produce the feeling from within. And then the things along the way are just the expression of the state that you already live. And so you don't need to chase anything then anymore. You're just authentic and you're natural and you're present and you're in the moment and things arrange themselves. I don't know. People are going to be searching for the great theory that explains how all of this works, that explains this process. And they're going to keep searching, but it's so magical. I almost like the fact that it's a mystery. You can see the process. You can step into that process. You can assume that process. But knowing everything about it, knowing how it all came about, no, just step into it and ride the wave. Can't force things.
The human body
Yes.
is a temple.
Yes, for sure.
A temple made without hands.
Yes.
Another quote.
In which God dwells.
Yeah,
Yes.
indeed.
Yes.
Ye are the temple of the living God.
Yes.
And what agreement hath the temple of God with idols? For ye are the temple of the living God, as God hath said, I will dwell in them and walk in them, and I will be their God, and they shall be my people. The thieves who rob you are your own false beliefs. It is your belief in a thing, not the thing itself, that aids you. Because of your belief in external things, you think power into them by transferring the power that you are to the external thing.
Yes.
Share your thoughts on that.
My body is a temple. You know, that thing that's based on, you know, what you put into your body and how you treat it. It's far more than the food, but that's very important too, right? You need to treat it a certain way.
Yeah.
Your body is a temple in the sense that it's the home to something. Something exists within that temple. Why are temples built, right? In general, on the outside, why are temples built? Because there's a certain holiness, a certain spirit, which is believed to enter into that temple, into the Holy of Holies, once it's been sanctified in such a way. That's not on the outside. God is not on the outside. There's nothing that you need to build on the outside. It comes from within. The fact is that your consciousness, God is accessed. He lives within your imagination. That's where it all is. So you have to connect with yourself. You're the garment in which you can allow for God to enter into and create a conditioned state. Go back into that. And you can become the unconditioned consciousness. And you become one with God. You can achieve anything you believe.
When you bring back the power within,
Yes.
you bring it back to yourself. From that point on, you are capable of doing absolutely everything.
What type of thoughts do you entertain? What type of thoughts do you let into the temple? The temple is a spiritual temple. It's a physical temple, yes, but it's more so a spiritual temple in the deepest part of yourselves, right? So you have the exterior version of the temple, which also needs to be holy. This is why you treat your body well. But in the deepest parts of the temple, in the holiest parts of the temple, this is in the heart, in wherever this is. We don't know where it is.
No.
We don't know where these things actually come from.
Yeah, it's not in your head, for sure.
It's spiritual. It's
Okay.
spiritual.
So mental diet.
It's invisible. It's a mental diet.
You need a mental diet.
Yes. It's a mental consecration.
to be careful with everything. What do you allow to hear, to enter and influence you?
Yeah, because if you begin to believe a certain thing about yourself, about other people, about the world, that's exactly what eventually it's going to be a conviction, and you're going to see that. Your subconscious will express it. It's such a beautiful process. It's such a mysterious process. But it's not something that is not achievable for every single person. Every single person just needs to look within. Yeah. That's it. Just connect within. You don't need anything from anywhere else. You just need to see how it is that how do you want to feel? How do you feel now? How do you wish to feel? And what's interesting is that, and we're going to talk about this, I can't wait till this episode as well, where we talk about desires. But there is I guess there's already a mechanism in place that can get you out of any situation that you're currently in. It starts hitting you in the form of desires.
Yeah.
And that is a message sent by God, sent by you to you.
From your higher self.
From your higher self.
From God.
In the form of a desire.
Yeah.
And the desire is a solution.
So all you have to do is listen.
Listen, but if you don't have time to listen,
that's the problem.
If you're just going from thing to thing, if you're constantly swiping, if you're working so much,
you have only so little free time, and when you say, well, that's my time, the time I use to myself, and I watch my favorite shows. That's why I'm happy. But that also prevents you from hearing your inner voice, because you're moving from one thing to another thing to another thing. So ultimately, not only each and every one of us needs to remember how amazing we are and that we have all the power. We need to bring back the power. We need to believe in ourselves individually, which is crucial, because without that you have nothing. Without that you're just relinquishing power to whatever you need to do it, because you don't believe in yourself, you don't believe you're capable of doing this, doing that. So all of a sudden, you believe the opposite, which is, I'm not a specialist at this, so I need a specialist for that. I'm not expert on this, so I need an expert on that. And somehow other people are better at that for you, but you haven't even tried. Do you think people are afraid of responsibility?
Of course.
Because they don't believe in themselves. But if they did remember how amazing they are and that God is within, then you self-empower yourself by taking back your power.
Yeah.
You're taking it back from all these people and places where you have given it away because you believed that they would do a better job than you. And now you know that you can do anything and you don't need anybody. Because if you want something done,
do it yourself.
You have to do it yourself. I love that.
Why? Why give away your power to something else? This is self-sacrifice. This is a bondage that you drop yourself in, a mental, and then eventually becomes a physical bondage as well. You can break yourself out, but only you can break yourself out, and only by believing in yourself. There's no other way. If you don't believe in yourself, there's not enough people in the world. Every single person can believe in you. If you don't believe in yourself to get out of a certain set of limitations, you will never get out.
That is why I started with that quote, "No other God," because the idea is that when you believe in yourself, you put yourself first on a pedestal, and then everything else comes after you, including God, in a sense. Because there are many people who do believe in God, but in their mind, God is amazing, almighty, and perfect, and he's somewhere, and they don't know where he is. Meanwhile, they are humans, just humans, only humans. And they can't, they're not God. I'm just a human. I'm not God. Like, you've heard this many times.
Yeah, you're separating the thing from the idea of the thing.
That's my point. You're separating yourself from God. And this is like a suicide in a way.
It's oneness. God, you are one with God. It cannot be that God is out here and you are over here. It's one. And that way, and the statement before, the commandment before, thou shalt have no other God beside me, is telling you, don't forget that I am the one that brought you out of bondage. But who else can free you but yourself? It's so obvious. Don't forget that only you are the one that can free yourself. And remember not to place anything else in terms of worship higher than yourself, because only you can free yourself.
And that's
Only
the
you
key.
can save yourself.
That's the key.
Only you can get yourself out. Only you can shift from one state of being into another state of being, from one conception of yourself to another conception of yourself. This is the shift can only happen from you and from within. That's it.
So remember your God, believe in yourself.
Yes.
If you believe in yourself, you believe in God.
It's the same thing.
End of story.
And everything flows from there. Because if you believe in yourself, everything is possible. Everything becomes possible. And you know that once you achieve a particular thing, it's because of you. It's because you believed in yourself. And you know that if you didn't do something, or something is happening to you which you're not happy with, don't cede that power to someone else or to something else. It's because of them. Take that upon yourself as well. It's because I didn't believe in myself. And you know, it's not just saying it, you know,
Yeah.
when you're going at something, you know whether you have faith in yourself or not, or you know whether you're just living within the limitations that you've allowed yourself to believe. I can never make it.
Yeah.
I can never do it. I just can't finish it.
Yeah.
This person is more talented than I am. I can never come up with something there. Everybody has something special inside of themselves.
Yeah.
All you need to, it's not about matching yourself up and being the best among many other people. It's just about being the best version of yourself.
Exactly.
I think this is how all the greats
No,
do
you
it.
can't doubt
I
yourself.
just want to be the best version of
Indeed.
myself.
Yeah.
That's it.
No athlete that ever won a medal, gold medal, doubted himself.
No. Doubt is the worst. You can have so much faith in yourself, but one moment of doubt will take you back very, very far.
And in their mind, they will succeed. There is no plan B.
There is no plan B. Arnold Schwarzenegger.
The moment you
There is
have
no
plan
plan
B,
B.
you've already failed.
The moment you have plan B, you've already failed. Absolutely. Burn the boats. Right? You land on the island, burn the boats. There's no other way. You have to succeed. You must succeed. You believe you will succeed so much that there is no going back.
And the how is
You-
not your problem.
You have no idea how you're going to succeed. You don't know how it's going to happen.
Yeah.
And you have to embrace that process and not try to control the how. Just trust that you will succeed in whatever it is you want to do. You will. But you have to let go of control in a way. You have to free yourself in a way from yourself.
Self-free yourself from your self-imposed prison.
It's all you. I mean, everything is you. That's
Yeah.
why at the top it's believe in yourself. This has to be the first principle for a heart-centered way of living, for an ethical way of living. You have to believe in yourself, because what that does is that tells you that we're all the same, because we all have to do the same thing. Just believe in yourself. You
Yeah.
begin to look at other people in a different way.
They all have different battles.
It's the same.
And we're all
The-
struggling with something. We're all trying to figure it out.
The
But
person,
how few know that this is the key, right? To believe in yourself. How few? Well, I'm not sure. I'm a true believer that we're gonna change that, because I think that the light workers are getting louder and more and more, and by leading with example that it's possible,
Yes.
we can just inspire more and more people. It's just a matter of time. Well, thank you.
thank you.
So happy to have shared this experience with you. it is possible. We are the living example, and I'm sure we're not the only one. We got this, you got this.
Each of us has their own story. The common thing is that if you believe in yourself, everything is possible.
And the how will take care of itself. You just believe in yourself.
Yep.
Please let us know in the comments. Any questions, any comments, any impressions. We'll see you next time.
Till next time.